Hi, this is Mike with Kids and Dragons, and I'm here today to talk about body structure. So, you have the most beautiful dragon. It is red from the tip of its nose to the tip of its tail. No white in there, and that's what you're after. You're after a red dragon, and it is just perfect. Should you breed that dragon? And that is what I'm going to try to help you answer today through body structure, which is what I believe to be the most important part when determining if an animal should be a breeder or not. And so I have a female here. This is a hypo tiger. Nice big girl, probably around 500 or so grams. And I'm just gonna start at the head and work all the way down and talk about what I see. So I'm gonna start with the eyes. You want a nice round eye. Sometimes they can be droopy, which is something you don't want. They could have a cleft in them, which would usually happen at the front or back, and it would just kind of go down like this or up here. You don't want the actual eyeball to be bulgy when it's opened, and you don't want it to be a frog-shaped eye, and that would be like up here if the eye were to go like this. It almost literally looks like the bearded dragon has a frog face. You want a perfect mouth alignment. You want the lips to come together just perfectly. You don't want an underbite or an overbite. So the shape of the head is what I'll talk about next. They have a nice crown spike right here, and you basically want the head shape to be triangular. Very triangular is how I like it. This male that I have on my shoulder here, he has a bit chunkier head. I still would even like it to be a little bit more triangular. Think of the shape of a Dorito. That is what I really aim for with that head structure and how that looks. So as I work down the back here, I'll talk about the toes. You want straight toes. You don't want the bone to have a crinkle in it or a wave or anything like that. You want them to be perfectly straight. As we go down the body here, you want the spine. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but you want the spine to kind of go in like that, and this is obviously pretty exaggerated, as opposed to a peak spine is what we call it, where they would meet like this and it would go down the middle there. You want the body to be lengthy as opposed to squatty. I think these are both pretty decent examples of that. You can kind of see this too if you look at a dragon. It will look off like the tail is way too long and then the body is short and squatty, and that's just a look that you don't really want to go for when you're thinking about if an animal should be a breeder or not. So as we go down here, the thighs should be thick, as well as the base of the tail. And again, the toes, you want to look at all the toes and make sure they're all straight. And then as well as the tail too, you can feel down the tail and make sure that tail is nice and straight, doesn't have any kinks in it. And same with this guy. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the fat pads. And so you have fat pads here at the tops of the head. They go down both sides, under the back circles, fat in the thighs, and at the base of the tail. And so it's very important to make sure a dragon is evenly distributed with all of this. And again, this is something you can kind of see as you step back and look at that animal. You don't want them to just be fat around the middle and have skinny legs and a skinny tail and sunken fat pads on the head. You want them to have an evenly distribution of fat pads. And I've even seen them, they'll have really nice big fat pads on the head and the body, and then they'll have a really skinny tail or really skinny back legs. And so anything can be lacking. And so that's why it's very important to make sure that overall you can see a good distribution on the fat pads. So I'm gonna be honest, and a lot of times that baby that is the most colorful dragon of the whole clutch could be the one that has all the issues that I just mentioned here, or flaws rather, in that dragon. And so you don't necessarily want to breed that one when it's an adult. And there's plenty of times when I'll have the most colorful dragon, and it's something that is the lower quality for me because I look at the body conformation and structure and those types of things as opposed to just the color. So you want to look at your whole clutch, and do you want to breed the one with the least amount of color? Well, not necessarily. And then you got to look at the one with the most amount of color, and then just really, it's important to be pretty hard on them when you're judging their build and how they look. And it takes a while too, because some of these things that I mentioned, you might not see until an animal is 6, 7, 8 months old, because it can take a while for some of these things to happen. So I like to get a mix of an animal that is what I'm going for. So if it's big tiger bars, then I look at, the ones that have the best tiger bars, and then I look at the conformation. Not necessarily in that order, but you want to be able to hit all the things. It's a big juggling act, and you want to make sure everything kind of lines up when you're determining what should be a breeder for you. The next thing I wanted to talk about was if two dragons can be absolutely perfect looking, flawless, like perfect, everything I mentioned, exactly what you want to see, those dragons can still produce offspring that have droopy eyes, peaked spines, crinkled tail, crinkled toes. It just happens because, as I've said before, they're animals. They are imperfect, but you are increasing your odds mostly of producing dragons that are perfect when you use breeders that are as near perfect as you can possibly get them. So let me see. Did I miss anything? That was good. Okay. Yeah. So I just want to thank everybody for watching this video today. Please like it, leave a comment. I love to read what everybody says or what everybody thinks about my videos. Please also subscribe. You can subscribe below here, or maybe here, or here. Maybe here. I'm gonna figure it out when I go to edit this. I've never put a button in, but I'm gonna give it a try today. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you have a good weekend coming up. Bye bye.